How y'all doing out there? How y'all doing? Reactions to the sentencing of Derek Chauvin and, you know, because of the George Floyd murder. Now, starting off, let's say this before I even get into what I'm about to say. First and foremost, he's going to jail. So, let's a round of applause for that. The fact that he's even going to jail and that he didn't get off, because for years in the past, that wasn't even possible to go to jail for killing a black man. So, we got that. You know what I'm saying? So, of course, we don't like the sentencing, but the fact he's going to jail, we got that. So that's a start. Now, the sentencing, 22 and a half years. Of course, in the urban community, we wanted the max. That's what we wanted right there because he deserved that shit. You follow what I'm saying? So, getting 22 and a half instead of the max, we off the top feel like that's a disrespect. That's a slap in the face because there was no excuse for him not to get the max. But there's where white privilege come in. That also, look at the judge who sentenced him. You dig? So, now I'm gonna say this: when I was looking at the sentence hearing, I was listening to the impact statements. I just knew he was gonna get the max. I'm looking at the his little with the 8-year-old daughter Gianna. When they asked her on the video, if your dad was here right now, what would you say? I think she said, I would say I love him and I miss him. Now that part right there, when she said that, it was a split screen and it showed Derek Chauvin. To me, it seemed like that touched him a little bit. I could be wrong, but it seemed like that touched him a little bit. Because he been sitting here just stone cold, stone faced the whole time, like wasn't shit bothering him. When the little girl said that, he kind of shook his head a little bit, kind of like, I took it like, okay, I understand what she's saying. You feel me? Then when the nephew got up there, the nephew, now I loved his impact statement. He said, I got a simple question. Why? Why? Why'd you leave your knee on my uncle's neck when he said he couldn't breathe? You know, and he looked and he said he paused for a minute. He said, why? And he stood and just looked at him. And the truth is, there's no answer to that type of question because there's no excuse for that shit. And then he said another thing that stuck with me. He said, we asking for the max sentence because if the roles were reversed, if it was us that had murdered somebody, we would be under the jail. And us coming from the black community, we know that type of shit is true. So when we see the roles reversing, it's not us, and we are the ones that are being murdered. We want the same results, and it's just, it just coming to feel like that. So I'm listening to that right there. And then when the brother got up there, the brother asked for the max sentence. He said something that stuck with me. He said, my family has already received a life sentence. So I'm asking for the max for Derek Chauvin. So I'm listening to all this shit right here. And then I'm listening to the closing statement that the prosecution gave. So I'm thinking, man, there's no way he's gonna get off with a lighter sentence than the max. Because these were some powerful impact statements from the victim impact statements. Very powerful. And then the prosecution just put the nail in it. So I'm like, oh, his ass is toast. You feel me? Then we hear the sentencing, 270 months, 22 and a half years, which, if he does good behavior, he can get out in 15 years. Of course, a disrespect wanted the max. But I will say this. If you the person that's going to jail and you have to do the 22 years, that's a long ass time. You get what I'm saying? So, but we wanted to see his ass get nailed to the cross like you do us. That's what we wanted to see. You follow what I'm saying? But still, 22 and a half years, 15 years, that's a long time. And I'm hoping, I'm praying that for some reason he has the nuts or the courage or the audacity to stay in general population. I hope so. Because if that happens, he won't last 22 years. He won't last 22 days in general population. You're going to find a shank in his neck real quick, or a broomstick up his asshole real quick if he decides to stay in general population. Coming out of that cell, walking the child, taking a shower, being on a rec yard, man, he's not going to last at all. Because I'm pretty sure there's going to be some guards in there, some COs who don't agree with what the fuck he did, who'll be willing to turn their head while you get stuck and then nobody knows what happened. So hopefully he goes to general population because if so, we'll definitely get the justice we deserve. Because they're gonna hold court on his ass in prison. Now, say if he doesn't, which I wouldn't if I was him, and he decides to check into protective custody. Okay, that might can protect him for a while, but at the end of the day, man, you still have to do that time day for day, day for day. You follow what I'm saying? So even though if we need something to smile about, again, look at it like this. We didn't get the max, and that's fucked up. But if you the person who just got sentenced to 15 or 22 years, that's still a long time right there. That's a long time to do. Especially when you thought you was going to walk from this shit. You follow what I'm saying? Because you got to keep that in mind. No police officer would kill a black person if they knew that they were going to jail. They do it because they think they're going to get off. If he knew he was going to go to jail, if he knew this was coming up behind doing that, he wouldn't have did that shit. That's why he did it so arrogant. Sit there with his hand in his pocket with a smirk in his face because he didn't think anything was going to happen. You follow what I'm saying? So you best believe on the inside he's dealing with some mental shit. He's fucked up. He wasn't supposed to go to jail. You follow what I'm saying? And then the bigger picture, he has 2 federal cases pending also. So, if these federal cases go through, hopefully the feds come through and nail his ass to the cross and make him do that time separate from the state time. Do the state time, then come right behind that and start on your fed time. So it's not over for him yet. You know what I'm saying? This is just a start. But, we wanted more, but it's a start. We can't have our cake and eat it too. We got the man going to jail. You follow what I'm saying? So, hopefully they wake up a bunch of other these crooked officers who think they can do that bullshit. So we got to start. An officer killed a black man and went to jail for it. That's a start. Now let's see where we go from here. Holla at.